So I want to get now to last night's emotional speeches on the House floor. Representative Travis Couture, Republican from Allen, he tried a seldom attempted method to get a couple of bills up for a vote, bills that have not even been granted public hearings. And these bills all center around addressing the shocking increase in child deaths and near fatal incidents in homes with drug addicted parents. A little bit of history here. It was 5 years ago that Democrats introduced the Keeping Families Together Act. This was aimed at keeping kids in homes, oftentimes even in situations where the state has gotten involved and said, okay, there's abuse, neglect, drug use here going on, but the parents have maybe agreed that they're going to get into treatment. And so they're leaving the kids in those homes because they think it's more harmful, apparently, to put them in a foster home or take them away to put them with another, maybe it's a grandparent who's trying to get custody because they know that their grandkids are in homes, with drug addicted parents. And the benchmark then became imminent harm. And the threshold has to be imminent harm to take those kids out. So even judges have been saying and caseworkers have been saying that's too high of a threshold to reach. And that's why these kids are languishing in these homes. So here is part of Representative Couture's floor speech last night, where he was basically begging majority leadership to bring the bills to the floor. Here's some of his speech last night.
All sorts of people are backing this bill and begging, please, can we save these kids? All of these bills basically touch on the same thing, that the definition of imminent physical harm needs to be changed. A couple summers ago in Everett, 3 babies overdosed in the same day, all related to different families due to fentanyl exposure. 1 died, 2 were revived. And Mr. Speaker, the very next day, after being revived, we sent those babies back home to the dangerous environment. We have created a system that escalates risk upon risk upon risk, ace upon ace upon ace, traumatic experience upon traumatic experience, until finally that kid is harmed, nearly dead or dead. And isn't it nuts that we send babies back to the same fentanyl abusing home just a day after they were exposed to fentanyl and had to be revived? Is there an expert that says that's safe for the baby? Is there an expert that says that lowering services down a rope into a dark hole makes that home safe? I haven't heard an expert say that, Mr. Speaker, but what I have heard is families across our state devastated by their family members that they could not save, family members that are the most vulnerable in our state. And if it's anything our state government could do, it's stand up for these babies and toddlers. Vote yes.
And then I want you to see part of the response from Majority Leader Joe Fitzgibbon, who could have brought those bills up, even though they weren't, didn't come up in hearings, didn't get public hearings. He still could have brought them up as Majority Leader. He has that option to bring those up. He did not like some of the comments that Representative Couture made on the floor. So here is Majority Leader Fitzgibbon responding, I would say in anger, that it was suggested by Couture that Democrats are leaving kids to die in these homes.
Every member on the floor of this body cares about children. Every member on the floor of this body cares about keeping children safe. You and I may not see eye to eye on what the best way is to do that. And that is why we have a committee process. We have a committee process so that committees can evaluate the proposals that come before them and decide what is the best thing for the people in our care. The committee with jurisdiction on this subject matter has decided that the bill that this is the subject of this motion is not the best way to keep kids safe. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, if you agree with that decision or if I agree with that decision, but that is why we have standing committees, is to evaluate what is the best thing to do.
So the bills were not brought to the floor. Representative Couture posted an emotional statement on his X page today, and it said, in part, I've exhausted every possible option this session to save innocent children who are dying at alarming rates in our child welfare system. I had only one option left. He described it as a Hail Mary to perform this rare procedural motion to pull those bills to the floor. He says each bill addressed the removal of kids from the absolute hell of being locked into homes with parents who abuse hard drugs like fentanyl. I know Representative Travis Couture very well. He's an emotional guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, cares a lot about these kids. And he basically said he feels devastated at the failure because he knows more kids will die and more kids will be harmed as a result of their failure to address this Keeping Families Together Act and the imminent harm threshold. So, a lot going on there.